with infrastructure in the entertainment industry. I'm also from the music side of things, and I know that biggest aggregators we have are the telcos. The the biggest data we have in Nigeria, telcos were the ones doing most of the distribution of music. Collar back RBTs was such a that would benefit the industry as a whole.
Is it co-productions? Is it financing elements of certain messaging, or just buying into the start to finish process that we go through as creatives? So that's my pain point personally.
Representative background, producing and finance background, the idea that yes, distribution, I see it as an opportunity now. I think with the drawback of all of the international organizations that did come here, there is a possibility to be able to reach the mass through the thing that is in our hands, the phones and all of the other devices, but building into that a content maker, specific programs who maybe they have different packages that are built for the content maker. The uploading is done at rates that are considerable to them. The reach and the promotion of that material is also built into that. Is there packages that can be built around people who are able to then reach a mass, because it's important that they entertain and educate, but using these networks as the pipeline for products to go out. And also on another side, speaking about the content creator, are there possibilities, and this might not go well in the room, but are there possibilities to raise funding via the telcos who are building on the content of these content makers, but maybe allocating some sort of funding that goes into one pot that is able to educate a young content maker, fund their projects in some way, build capacity, funding the capacity build for them as well. But then that can then be maybe even a tax write-off in some other way for whoever is contributing to that, but building that kind of ecosystem that powers the content maker, especially the young one, and educates them as well.
Most of what I believe policy should do should serve as a deterrent. And so for it to serve as a deterrent, there has to be the punitive measures that come with some of the policies. So what are some of the ways that we are looking to really put into effect a lot of the punitive measures when people use social media, I would say negligently, just to get engagement, because some of these things are quite harmful to the person. I'm also curious, I sit on the board of RELP and MPAN, and those are two organizations that are working a lot with the NCC and the Ministry of Culture to solve a lot of the collection management organization issues. And one of the things that we're curious about is what is the alignment from a piracy perspective, the alignment between NCC and the Copyright Commission to deal with a lot of piracy, because whether we like it or not, music is still kind of distributed for free. I know that there was a case more recently where NCC was successful in, I think it was Net Niger or something, one of those platforms, that they had been looking for the person for such a long time, and it took a while for them to really track this person down. But how can we create more comms between both organizations to really streamline and support the effective sort of like discovery of who these people are? It's still at the same time, yes, it's a social media page or it's a web page, but there's people behind it that are managing it. So I think if we have more seamless, again, alignment, I feel like I'm going around in circles, but between both commissions, I think it would really help to reduce a lot of the piracy that we're seeing on the music side.
One thing I would say is if there is a way the body can really, act as a support system for creators. And this is also really in terms of training. And I mean, in terms of what she said about data is extremely expensive. Like, I do a lot of uploads, and I don't know, I feel like there needs to be some form of regulation, because I don't know how it works, but I know that when I buy like over, let's say 200 gigabytes and stuff, within like the next, this thing is finished. And I kind of, compare with another provider, and it's not really matching up. So also in terms of training creatives, I would also say that's artificial intelligence, which is AI, which is really, this is like the new gold of content. Training creatives how to really use this, not just for passing of false information, because AI has just really been a tool to just really, deceive people online, for clickbaits and stuff. So really making these creatives see more useful, chances using this AI, not just to make their work faster, but it also, actually makes Nigeria look like one of also the leading countries in this particular thing. So yes, I would say more of, I'm really, really a fan of AI. It's made my work easier. It's really, elevated the way I really look at things, and not just that, it makes you learn as well. So yes, thank you so much.
I think local organizations, local networks need infrastructural and policy support. And also, uh, is it possible for there to be a creative tech fund for creators, for people who are venturing into creating video platforms, audio platforms, streaming platforms, even content monetization tools? Is it possible for us to have that kind of support from policy? Thank you.
One has said here. But if I have to be honest, they said when they said chairman summoned you, I showed up. I just thought I was getting an office in this fancy building. That's why I showed up. I won't lie. And then, if I'm being honest, because if you check the records, my conversation with Marv, I said, will there be snacks? He said there will be snacks. Here I am. Well, I'm telling you, but they've said all the problems. I just want to be honest, because I can't lie to my boss. You know what I mean? So honestly, as soon as I said yes, there's snacks, I canceled all my plans. Just so you know. So Lojay would be more articulate. She's already spoken all the English and the policy and the So Lojay, you're next. But I came for snacks.
To be honest, a lot of the problems have really been mentioned on this table, from data costs to support for creatives in the industry. And I'd just like to add to that a little bit, because I think one of the biggest problems I come from the music industry, and one of the biggest problems has just always been creating structure within the music industry. And I would really like to put the conversation on the table for the telcos to kind of be involved and collaborate with the industry in terms of just creating our own structure, from venue support to, like you said, data costs, reducing the cost of data for us to just be able to upload and download very easily, as well as even distribution of, like I said, I can only speak from the music industry because that's where I'm from. But I believe there was a point in time when telcos were really part of the distribution of music in Nigeria. And I think we can really get back to that space. We have Spotify, Apple Music, and all these guys are more or less foreign companies that are more or less taking a chunk of money from Nigerian artists, if we're being honest. And this is basically money that's left on the table that can actually still be acquired by Nigeria and the Nigerian government itself. And I feel like we should find ways in which the telcos can collaborate with the artists and the industry itself to help create actual strong structures that can benefit everybody. Thank you.
The average kid from the street, they probably are able to do something in art, something in sports, something very creative. But what it feels like is they're lacking something it was very big back in the day. But today, nobody focuses on that. But silently, money is still being made in this particular arena, and people do not have enough knowledge and capacity for us to claim some of these things. So for me, more than anything else, we need capacity, and we need to encourage people to collaborate more across sectors and across industries to help people that have the creative talent to harness better. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Coming here and just listening to very few of you, I came here with my own suggestions.
Now, the NCC as a regulatory body, right? And then the telcos, we know that's where we should really be. And then you have the industry. All three people, especially with the chairman being part of us, have an understanding, but not everyone has a full understanding of what should be done. So for us to move forward, my opinion is we should have a meeting with the NCC, with the telcos, and whoever in the industry they feel worthy to carry the rest of the industry along. You can't have everyone in there. Okay, Dibaj is suggesting a retreat. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, that would be good. Exactly. One day I don't think will be enough. But then again, you have everybody talks about YouTube versus what we have in Nigeria. He suggested that with YouTube and 1 million downloads, you make about $500, and with him you make so much more. There's still money on the table. There's advertising. Now the telcos have their fixed, most times fixed percentage of what they think they should collect. But then you have revenue for advertising also. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's going into that. The telcos also do that. So why don't we become part of that formula sharing? And I feel like for that to work, they're not going to listen to us. They'll listen to you as a suggestion, on our behalf. So we really do need the NCC in more ways than one with regards to this digital revolution and optimization we're being part of right now. Thank you very much.
Generally, we're all looking to the future, and the future is data, the future is internet, the future is AI. Um, I think that we shouldn't discount the people that only have access to terrestrial TV. A lot of people only have access to terrestrial TV. And I say this from the experience of hosting a show called Jakbada that currently airs on NTA. From the feedback that we got, a lot of people watch that show on terrestrial TV because they don't have access to the internet. So yes, while we work on getting the internet to everyone, I would love for the NCC to ensure that terrestrial stations give a certain quality of programming such that those people still get access to good quality entertainment, good quality content, while we work on getting the internet and data available to them.
That in terms of what these young people have access to. I mean, I remember from works do the, I guess, whatever it is, and learn a few things from there. However, still on the data and unlimited internet in, I guess, university areas or, places of close contact, I think it would help a lot of young people understand things.
In that line, I also want to ask if something like that can be done. Also know that intellectual property is also one of our big. There's something that makes it easier where you know that, okay, there's this space, or we have 100 studios in Lagos for this at this price. I think that would also help. And people that just come online and hide behind their accounts and all of that, because it represents us. Thank you, sir.
I think I should start with what you might consider bad news. So I have left my position as Group Chief Executive at Temple Company. And it was a tough thing to do, but it was a necessary thing to do because of the conflict that arises from my position as chairman of the NCC. That's the bad news. The good news is that no matter what, this will always be my industry. I have, to use the tech term, made a pivot into communications now. But communication is, in my opinion, and I don't say this to make the NCC team feel more important than they are, but I think that in terms of where we are as a country and where we want to go, the NCC is the most important regulator. we are the central nervous system of the future of Nigeria. This industry is a critical part of the future of Nigeria. From the first day I joined the industry, I was clear in my mind as to who you guys are. Honestly, I don't think you guys know enough who you are and the powers that you have. And because you maybe don't understand it enough, you're also not using it the best way that you can. So, I can understand that you choose not to belong to any political party. It's okay. You're well within your right. I'm a member of the APC, proudly. But you must be involved in your governance. So, how many of you have been to the Lagos State House of Assembly or the National Assembly to go and promote something that will promote this industry? Do you know your reps? Who is your assembly member? What have you put forward to help? And if there's only one message that we will take away from here today, the message is that we must be more involved. I'm not sure that there's any or there are many governors in Nigeria today that 2 or 3 of you will knock on their door together and they will not break expo to listen. That's the influence that we have. Now, you know, there's a note that they gave me. Let me read it to you. Because they were afraid that because you people coming, that I'll promise you people everything that I don't have. So they said a word on what this meeting is not. NCC is not in a position, nor would it be appropriate to compel telcos to fund creative sector initiatives or to direct specific commercial arrangements. What we can do is signal, convene, facilitate, and where our regulatory levels are relevant, ask the right questions publicly. This room is part of the process. The conversations that happen here will shape how NCC thinks about the creative economy as it updates policy frameworks over the next 12 to 18 months. So maybe they were afraid that I would say that I'm going to call this person and call that person to do this and to do that. But it won't work like that. Again, you know, what are you ready to give? We've asked a few questions of the telcos. You want cheaper data. You want them to recognize the industry and give you a concession. What are you going to give them in return? And it's the way that we have to think about a lot of these things a bit more. Deferred profit. Because by giving you today, I can demand of you tomorrow. But if what you want is to take and to take and to take without giving, there's nobody, even we as parents, we want something from our children in return for everything that we give them. So, in advance of this potential roundtable with them, what is the industry willing to give in exchange? So, because honestly, somebody talked about touring. We went to the telco last week, and climbing up their stairs to their data center was very old pictures of some of you guys. You guys were storming campuses. Was that not Tory? What happened? So why did it stop? What happened? Where went wrong? We can't even pinpoint it. So if we do not know what the exact problem is, how do we find a solution? Honestly, I'll be very, very happy to facilitate support of the NCC team. No. As a regulator, I have to go and read the act again. I think that this kind of conversation can happen with them at the table, and we can commit to working together. I don't know if there was a time, many years ago, and I think it was you, Jazzy, that I had the conversation with about something called Five. That was supposed to be a collaboration with some record labels and all of that. It didn't happen. It went live, and then what happened? Congratulations to Mr. Cream. But we need Cream is one solution. We need many more. What are we doing? And with what I see in terms of potential revenue, I'm not sure that there are many people that will not be keen to establish a properly structured relationship with the industry. We've heard now that Five turned a profit in 1 year. So even though it was shut down, they didn't lose. Let's take the learnings from that and create. Also, you see, at the NCC, we need your support. We cannot afford brand ambassadors and endorsements and things like that, but we need amplification. There are issues that we're dealing with on a daily basis that we need amplification. One of the reasons why we have problems with quality of service and quality of experience is because of fiber damage. We're also still dealing with theft. They steal diesel, they steal batteries, they steal generators. But I argue that the communities themselves do not understand the impact of those crimes that are happening, that if they did, they would not let it happen. Because you will say that if you don't give us money, we'll cut the fiber. They don't give you the money, you cut the fiber. And then you will complain that service is poor. So we need your help to let them understand. Yes, these are critical national infrastructure. But it's not because they are serving the government alone. It's because the work communication is critical to all of us. Before this administration came, the administration that appointed me as chairman, I understand. I mean, this was the room where I sat with Alton. Alton is the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria. And they said to me that just before the EBC, Dr. Maida was appointed by President Tinubu, that they had started considering shedding load on cell sites because they could not afford to pay for diesel before the price adjustment for uh, for use. So imagine the frustration you face when service is slow. So can we imagine not having at all? So that's why it is critical. Your skits, your movies, your podcasts, how will people access it? How will we see Pink Line if we don't have? So we owe ourselves a duty, and we owe our country a duty to help us educate people on why they should give those things. Apart from those who do it maliciously, there are also the people who do it out of negligence. Road construction. Somebody wants to lay a pipe across a street, they damage pipe. Do you know who pays for the repairs? The owner of the fiber. Yes. It could be the network, it could be an ISP. Not the person who damaged it. But this NCC has said and we are working on it. In the nearest future, if you damage it, you must pay for it. And I think that when people are responsible for it, they will be more careful when they are dealing with it. Some of the stories that I've heard since I assumed this position make me wonder that what is the problem? So construction is happening, and the telco had to go and physically dig up their fiber and hold it for the construction to be done and then put it back. Because they were afraid that it would be done. That is not responsible. And it's not sustainable. All of us owe that duty to one another because we need connectivity. So can we count on your support? Understand? We are critical.
This is very new. I've not heard it before. I think it's interesting to see what the needs are and what we are able to do to support that. Because the truth is, it's a symbiotic relationship. We need data. We need regulations that support data. We need music-friendly data capsules. There are so many things that we need to support. Because if our industry does well, with the way the tax regime is moving, you will pay your tax, and it is still going to be used for the economy, which at the end of the day is about supporting and growing a particular group, like the young people. A lot of them are involved in the creative sector. So it's important for us to find something viable that makes sense. I think we've been very involved with the copyright sector. A lot of the information around how they were able to trace pirates and all of that stuff, we were able to give them information about that. We've lobbied to support to raise certain things, like RELP. Like I said, I'm on the board of RELP. We're very involved, and communication is constantly going. And even to review some of the policies that they had for the new copyright bill, we've made ourselves available. We've gone to Abuja where we need to. We've done stakeholder meetings. For me, those are part of supporting. That's if I'm giving you my industry know-how and the practicality of how we run business to help you to shape policies, to help you to shape regulations, to give advice on what we're learning from neighboring countries, I think that is support.
Absolutely.
But this is the first time, like I said, and I don't know, maybe several of these meetings have happened from the creative sector to the NCC.
This is actually the first.
Amazing. So it will be good to, like I said, know your pain points. If there's things that we can do to bring awareness to it, we're very happy.
Very happy to hear that you guys are willing and able. And we thank you in advance. But back to the again, there's a lot happening on the NCC side in terms of online safety, in terms of, someone also talked about cyberbullying, Engineer Shodam, you want to have the word quick?
Thank you, my chairman. Not because I have similar experience that he had before he became the board chairman. But for one thing, at least, because I have the opportunity to see most of you I always see on TV. So I'm excited about that. And I think I will powerfully say my chairman's face is bright and his shoe is shining. The truth is that there's a trend, we must have seen it over the years, how our life has transformed to where we are and what has led to it and how it affects all of us. Traditionally, before you enjoy entertainment, is either through your TV or your radio, or sometimes there are some news magazines where you can enjoy all that. But all that now has shifted. It's shifted to a different platform. Now, when we talk about infrastructure before, the first thing that comes to your mind is maybe road or maybe water or all that. But infrastructure has become invisible. The singular most important infrastructure today is our broadband, is our internet, is our connectivity. And my chairman has said it well established. Just imagine that we shut down communication for 2 hours. I think we better don't even imagine it. We don't need to imagine it at all. Exactly. So, and if there's any industry that is most impacted, I think it's your industry. Like we have seen it now. You are our healthcare providers. During COVID, assuming you were not existing, or maybe all of us will have gone. Yes. So, but as it comes, there are attendant issues. Most of the things you have listed are things that comes along with this. Issues of online safety, issues of fraud, cyberbullying, and all that, and all that, and all that. But I'm happy that I'm seated beside Chief Idris Olonimbe as our chairman. The board that he's leading today is a board that you will be proud of, because you are going to see changes to most of the things you are even talking about. For one thing, I like the fact that he didn't promise you I will do this, I will do that, because I also know he will not be able to cure everything you have said, because I still need him alive. If he wants to cure everything, I'm not sure he will be able to breathe. But he's determined and he's leading a team that will make a difference. On the issue of cyber security and issues, let me say that just this year, a full department in NCC was established or was transformed. It has been existing as a department, but was transformed to address issues of cybersecurity and internet governance. So I can say that right now, one of the top items on the agenda of this department is the issue of online safety and online security. Yes. So all this, of course, all this comes together. I was sharing with my chairman today one news item 2 days ago on CNN that says that the next level of AI is even too powerful for them to release. And you know what? Those that brings all these issues we are facing today, they are the ones that are behind the use of the most powerful AI tools. So we really have a big challenge that we must be prepared for. And one thing that we have established here is that we need each other. That collaboration we cannot exist without, or we cannot succeed without having that collaboration. Not just with us and the creative industry, the security agencies, the legal apparatus, anyone you can think of. Exactly. So all this, we really need to work together. And if we are committed to working together, we will see lights at the end of the tunnel. So I can say it, that yes, there is no single agency that will be able to address it. NCC will not be able to tell you that, okay, don't worry, I'll do everything for you. The other day, I was showing my chairman a video this afternoon. I was going to LBS, and by the roadside, I saw a guy with his machete, cutting fiber cable. Pa, pa, pa. And I was like, as if I should come out and hold him. I said, do you know what you're doing? But I was also afraid that machete might land on my neck. So I was very, very careful. But I'm happy about one thing today. The bank just showcased something. And as he was doing it, I was thinking along how important this our industry is. You do see the wealth that this industry can create, and your industry especially. Yes, I have it. I'll share it. So yeah. So when your internet is dragging, Bisola, you know why. So all these things come together. We have issues, we have challenges, but you also have a very good role to play for us. And that is why the use of the word symbiotic, we are helping you, you are helping us, is very, very important. So that I don't talk too much, the issue of cybersecurity, recently, we released a cybersecurity framework for this industry, the first ever in the history of Nigeria. So if you go to our website now, the framework has been established. So that some of these salient issues, they are all embedded in that framework. So we are here to work for you, and we need you to also help us to succeed, as we are determined and ready to help you to succeed. Thank you.
It is very, very important that, we protect intellectual property. And again, another challenge to the industry. Let's start testing the law. So beyond taking it down, let's sue. So I know that there's some telcos that operate here, that operate there as well. So there are channels to open this conversation. But again, accountability. We need to hold people more accountable. We cannot continue to leave people that do us dirty for posterity to judge them. Let the judges in the court first judge them. That's why they are there. And a lot of times, even with the cyberbullying and all of that, is there anybody at this table that has ever made a formal report to a security agency about somebody, and did you get justice? So the same thing. The Federal High Court, the judges are frequently trained to update them on international best practices and not, because this industry is not a localized industry. It's a global industry. It's another thing that we have in common. And, we will pursue. I'm sure that there are laws that we can exploit or explore to deal with all these issues. But again, if we do not make the move, if we do not report it, it's just going to happen like it did not happen. So, before they take it that far, the people that are doing the current level, what are we doing to them? How are we punishing them? So that's one case. I can put money on the fact that everybody here has been a victim. What happened to the people that harassed you or 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 you? So let us now we also talked about cheaper data. Now, again, I cannot speak for the telco, but I can tell you that when it comes to pricing, they cannot go above a certain price and they cannot go beneath a certain price that is fixed by the NCC. What are the factors taken into consideration when those things are being done? Cost. So again, another challenge to us as a country. The equipment that they use, they import. The price of crude is fixed globally. So the fact that the crude is in Nigeria does not mean that you can price it 100 naira. The price is fixed globally. And these factors impact on their cost to deliver the service. Now, the reason why we have said you cannot go beneath a particular price point again is in the spirit of healthy competition. Because the big guys can drop it based on the strength that they have in terms of the number of people that they have and crush the smaller businesses. But we need the smaller businesses as much as we need the bigger ones. So everybody must survive. But is there a possibility of them creating a special bundle for the creative industry or for creators? I cannot say no. So again, it is something that is worth exploring. Again, back to what we said. What are you willing to give? Because you must also give them something in return so that it can be a win-win for them and for you.
See what happens when it comes to consumption of data. I can get 1 gig of data on my phone, and you can get 1 gig of data on your phone. Your own will finish very quickly, earlier than my own. Because you are using iPhone 17 with very fine resolution. So that resolution that you are enjoying and the picture is very clear, and my own is doing like this. We're not consuming the same data. Exactly. So you're paying for it. Do you understand? And for every app that is playing on the ground, it's consuming your data so quickly. That is what happened, my sister.
So I also know that I was trying to find the message. So I have subscribed to something on the telco I use that gives me the amount of data I've used every day. So like in the morning, I get, this is what I did yesterday. And it is consistent. The days that I work more from home or in the office, my consumption is low. But the days that I'm on the road from one place to the other, this is why. I hear what you have not said as well. I think that So I noticed some words that I was going to use in speaking to us today. And you have brought us to one of the words, relationship. Now, we are here because of our relationship. And honestly, relationships are the greatest single contributor to success, and when there's no relationship, to failure. We need to foster deeper relationships. So, I think that the relevant agency of government for you would be the Census Board and maybe NCC, Broadcasting Corporation. But with government, there are overlaps. And everybody's mandate differs from sector to sector, from issue to issue. So in this case, there might have been an overlap. But the Census Board should have picked it before it became an issue for the content owner or the content creator. But again, these conversations, we need to have more and more. Apart from being friendly or being supportive of the Nigerian Communications Commission, we must also support the Office of the National Security Advisor. We must also support the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. We must also support the Ministry of Education. And it sounds like a lot. But one thing affects the other. And when one goes wrong, everything can easily collapse. So, we will address the issue in detail, and we'll find a way to, again, my role as board chairman of the NCC is restricted to what the commission does. But I also have a role as a citizen that wants the best for my country. And in that role, whichever agency it is, whichever ministry it is, whichever department it is, I am willing to offer my support and to accompany any and every of you to go and address whatever the issue. But again, what are you willing to give? And we are Oliver Twists. We want more.